Good day, everyone. I hope that you're all having a fantastic day and being able to transmute the tensions in the air. Today, as I'm sitting down, it's taken me over an hour to really sit and meditate and sense all the directions that the channel wants to go in, which for me is always creatively inspired in so many directions that I can't seem to get everything out in a half an hour. So, all right. So, many of you may identify with being old souls, connected, star seeds, whatever, energy workers, light workers, empaths, superheroes of the astral, cosmonauts, whatever you may be. Today it's a weirder message. I'm feeling this energy kind of coming through, and this morning I did feel quite a bit of and overnight as well. Yesterday we had the Mars-Uranus conjunction, a little bit of astrology really stepping forward this morning as I was getting into the channel and needing to really process a lot of emotional fluctuations coming through. And for individuals like myself and most likely yourself, this isn't all just something that is within the self. It's like, it may come forward like, what's wrong with me? Different kinds of energetic, physical, astral kinks in the energy, like feeling discontent, frustrated, for some powerless or suppressed or trapped or foreboding in some manner, some urge to heal or transmute something that's coming forward to grab our attention and our focus. I don't know if this is going to seem like some kind of presenting problem that's meant to alert us to distraction energy, or if this is really energy that's coming forward for some of us to recognize when, where, how, and perhaps with who, or situationally at 222, how certain energies have become out of hand and needing to be brought back into balance in some way in our lives, on the collective, and so on. We are only but a reflecting pool that's mirroring back the situations within and without, which is the nature of the duality that we're wanting deliverance from. This came through a little bit. And so where are we going with this? So there's things that need to be dealt with, perhaps simplified, cleaned out, the clutter of the closet, so to speak, the dust under the rug, those things that we've been pushing off for a rainy day, or I'll do it tomorrow, the land of later. We need to somehow recognize that those pushed aside issues or need for healing in some type of a way, even if it's a long-term process of you earning back your power, your control, your voice, your sense of personal identity, and speech, all of these things. And it's related to the accumulation of the physical in our environment, or lack thereof for some, but also even the most stark and impressively clean and decluttered environment, there may still be quite a bit of inner noise or clutter or kinks in the energy that we're working out at this time. And to the extent that we're awakened and aware to this process, we are able to proactively ask these energies to speak to us and to transmute those energies in the moment. And this is what I feel was being shown to me this morning with the energies, things needing to be expressed instead of when we hold a grudge, we can energetically hold on to the evidence of that act of that memory, so on. Or there are other habits or accidental, incidental absence of attention or remembrance. And this can also be our own transgressions. It's hard to look at those things. And sometimes when I find that I'm speaking with family and loved ones, the ones that I most want that good relationship with. But in that same regard, they also sometimes take the deeper brunt of my expectations and perhaps my, dare I say, accusations, like, oh, you haven't done this enough or that enough. Is this egoic preservation of the ego coping mechanism that we sometimes enter into. When we can become consciously aware of this, we can not be offended by me saying such, but we awaken in the moment to, okay, I'm addressing this frustration, but it really doesn't necessarily have to do with the situation that I'm in or with this other individual. It's not the blame shifting that empowers us, but taking back our own individuation process from that and saying, where can I become more accountable to my wants, needs, to advocate, to set boundaries, to walk away from a situation or to shut something down versus to deal with and to psychically, energetically hoard some type of frustration, resentment, self-doubt, so on. So this is where we become the little segue into Chiron. I'm indicating a chart here I've drawn up for myself, and so I'll be glancing over here. So this is what I'm looking at. So coming into the second full moon in the sign of Capricorn balances out the sign of Cancer, where the sun is at. In Cancer, Capricorn is about generally the balance between self and outer, the inner identity and the outer reputation, the ego and our sense of achievement versus inner peace and contentment and gratitude in the moment. So these things kind of taking us back and forth in what is, what we wish for, what has been, and how the mind processes and perceives where we're at, what we're doing, and how content and at peace we are with the things as is, which is why it has bearing on the clutter, the space, and where we're going, what we're doing. So there's a lot of tension in the atmosphere, specifically with that Uranus Mars conjunction there in very late Taurus here. And Mars is just about to push into the sign of Gemini, where these things really start being brought to our mind, to our attention. When we have awareness, then we can take action, which Mars, when it first gets into Gemini, is going to potentially be inspired to learn more, to connect with others more, to take action, or to, I believe it's mostly, ooh, the flicker of the light. That actually gave me a little jolt in my gut, very low in the sacral chakra. Yeah, taking new action on new information and studying, researching, and then applying or connecting with community inspirational potentials. So we have a lot of this pressure as the coming full moon, sun and moon will be bisected in a square aspect. Their opposition has Chiron here in square, which puts a lot of tension on our ability to awaken to the shadow realms from within and without, and the processes therein of the subconscious, bringing it into the conscious, and how the Chiron issues of either wounding, victimization, worthiness, etc., our capacity and our belief in self versus the belief that we are the wounded or the victimized or the suppressed. There goes, extreme pressure shift in my left ear. So Chiron is stepping forward into our awareness. How do we take responsibility for the self and therefore stop looping in a pattern and graduate and see the spiritual lesson and apply then the full power and capacity towards not this essence of longing and nostalgia or limerence, but actually graduating out of that into personal capacity and identity and self-belief. to ascend in the moment, to take ownership at the heart of the matter. I was seeing that as the heart of the matter is at the core of the self. It isn't in how we escape a circumstance, but how we dive through the portal of the inner world and our perspective to turn the matter almost inside out on itself and say that I am the spiral now. I am the elevation of what has attempted to pull me down and hold me back. It was always only a reflection in the mirror. It was only ever shadow boxing with these lessons. And how do we overcome? So there's this mystic rectangle formulating in the aspect patterns, and it's with, right now at the time of this recording, we have this sun and the moon in a trine aspect, but each of them in sextile to some others. And this is a loose formulation that's kind of moving through between the time of right now until the time of the full moon's exact hit there, somewhere around the 29th degree of Capricorn, 1111 on the counter there. So this is the critical degree at the end of Capricorn, which we are, if you've been following Pluto, Pluto's right there retrograding just about back into the sign, but it's going to take a long time. But Pluto will be done there by late this year, I believe in November sometime. And so with it in such close proximity to Pluto at the beginning critical degrees there of Aquarius, this is the precipice. This is the foreshadowing where we start to hear the ominous music and we brace ourselves because the movie tone is about to shift, you know? And so then with the Mars and Uranus aspect in this unexpected developments coming through, there's still this falling out phase where all of us are feeling this pressure cooker momentum in our lives, and where we are either blaming others or taking personal responsibility, which is another factor of, we've got both Neptune retrograde in very light Pisces at the critical degree, and also we have at the mid area of the still the same sign of Pisces, we have Saturn retrograde, which is like, do we believe in the limitations? Do we take personal accountability, or do we deflect and project, or do we accept deflections or projections? So personal accountability, taking the transmuted authority of the true and righteous kings and queens that we are, and to identify with the healed masculine versus the toxicity that we've been perhaps raised or exposed to socially or otherwise, say as you will. So Neptune retrograde is at that critical degree, then bisects the side of the rectangle. So we have the rectangle, and then we have at this side, we have this triangular aspect, almost as if to create the roof on a house. So rectangular pattern, let's say, would be lengthwise this way, and then the roof across the length of the top, not the skinny top, just so you can visualize. You'll have to look it up if you're interested. But so that's like retrograde Neptune forming the ceiling of the house of the mystic rectangle. And the mystic rectangle, it's not only characterized by the trines and sextiles, which are helpful in getting us, the trines are easy, it feels good to move in that direction, or it feels natural, but the sextiles require a little bit of personal effort. But then in this aspect pattern, because of the four of them, this creates between the lengths an X, or two opposites too, which is polarity and tug of war energy, which is somewhat balancing tensions. And so the tensions at play are being somewhat resolved as we transit and move around the perimeter of the home. This being perhaps the home, the astral that surrounds I was hearing the nativity, but I intended it to be the the aura, the shield, the blueprint that we are, the becoming that we are perceiving and speaking and acting into being. And the navigation of that with the sextiles and the trines is giving us some type of way to release those tensions. And on the highest aspect, it creates this urge to act towards an important cause, or to speak for an important objective or urge or need, or the urge to apply our talents and gifts or our efforts and our capacity towards something valuable or meaningful. And so this becomes a calling to the sacred work, especially with the accountability, with the mystic, in the mystic rectangle, being at the fulcrum of the temple, so to speak. It's like through the crown and out through the ethers do we call in the flames and the guides and guardians to provide our transmutation and support our process, or do we indulge in the underworld of the subconscious and the deflection process? It's difficult to remain in the heart of the matter, but here we are nonetheless. And so I think that is suddenly all I'm going to say about that matter. It may come out a little bit more later. So this is the Daily Dharma. My name is Dina. Thank you so much for joining. Let's get a couple of cards. Let's start with the Sacred Geometry Activations Oracle card deck here and see if any codes want to step out for us to help us to navigate and master our processes at this time. There we go. This one. Sacral chakra, that extreme lightning bolt, is like the awareness. Yes, that's the other thing that I wanted to call attention to with the various aspects coming in. We have the moon conjunct retrograde Pluto, the need for transformation, an unavoidable shift or unavoidable awareness. In conjunct, challenging aspect to Mercury, we are challenged to speak out or the suppression of that urge, challenged to take leadership in some manner, to awaken our insights or some latent memories. And that Mercury being square itself to the Mars and Uranus aspect is unexpected moves, impulses, suppressed aggressions coming forward. And then Moon again in T-square with Chiron, recovering our power, overcoming cycles, reactive circumstances that will help to push us out of old looping behaviors. And then the Moon also trining with Uranus and Mars, response, plan of action, and then again, speech, learning, research, perhaps engaging with others or our community. The bottom of the deck, coherence, what comes next, understanding the process, our participation, and our power and capacity to move beyond it. Healing, I like that. Following the sacred chakra, the sacral chakra at 1818 on the counter. The subconscious, the subliminal, the impact of previous hurts and either resentments or accumulated energy in any form or manner needing to be cleared out, cleansed and cleared to be able to access our full potential, our full worth and confidence and creative capacity depends on and even to get into our full heart space and then thus further up into our intuition and our channeling of divine energy that can come through and help us to process that is relying upon our ability and our willingness to ground into this moment, to this body, to this breath, and then to believe that that we are worthy, that we are part of this situation in this body, in this incarnation for a reason, for a purpose, to connect deeply with body, breath, water, and capacity. Gaia. This is almost as the self as an extension of Mother Earth, and believing that we are never alone, that we are deeply connected to the empathic collective waters and the earthly material, and that as we transcend the self, we're doing the sacred work here in conjunction with Gaia. So if you need to ground yourself, getting your feet in the soil, putting your skin just a little bit, your body in the sun for, safe amounts of time for those sensitive souls, and getting fresh air and time in nature, decompressing, unplugging, all of these things are very important. Call into your spiritual support staff and to your higher self and declare yourself in the process of healing. Judgment will not serve. It's about clarifying the ego's efforts on our behalf. I'll leave that with you. Conception. I believe this is about the conception of the plan, the ideas and ideals that we're bringing forward here. And as we heal this, it comes through as eureka. Well, why don't I just get over that, so to speak? It's not so easy. But perception, conception and perception, conceiving of a new idea, a new plan of action. Researching could also be about your psychology and your ability to heal and self-soothe, and perhaps you're even having yourself working with a healer or a therapist or some type of family counseling or some other way, or opening up dialogue between self and other here about your true needs and your perceptions, and being able to speak through it. It can be quite cathartic and transformative. Realization, yes, I think that you're understanding something quite profound in this moment. And this mystic rectangle with the ceiling is like the house on the home. Something may have kind of blown the top off in some type of a way, or maybe you blew your top. I don't know. There's a lot of pressure. And us empaths, we're channeling the weight of the world at some times. And even if we cleanse and clear, we still, while we're searching for this, especially those with specific aspects, it's like the emotions are triggered because the intensity of our emotional waters and our emotional awareness can truly shift the world and Mother Gaia here, whatever you want to call these energetics and the elementals, into greater coherence, greater resonance. Coherence speaking about a baseline frequency staying true to form, such as a tuning fork rather, being pinged on a surface holds a resonance, and the object or one nearby that wasn't pinged, that tuning fork starts to shake and vibrate with the resonance of the first. It's our ability to resonate and accommodate presenting problems or presenting vibrations, and our capacity to recognize our power and healing ability to perceive of a different way, to send out and broadcast our own signal, can uplift a group. But that group can also bring us into mutual resonance somewhere in the middle, which also might bring us down. It might bring them up. I hope you see what I'm getting at here. Let's up. I see up. Yeah, uplifting circumstance, taking in good dialogue, good research. If you're feeling some type of low energy or urge to research something new, take it in, cleanse, clear, and try to get to the bottom of what's coming out. What was that one? Prayers. So, yeah, prayers, meditation, visioning. This is believing in your prayers, making a prayer of your life, and praying to those energies, to the highest of other individuals, and not accusing, but asking others. And okay, this stepping forward again. So on the bottom of the deck, love. Yes, that's the heart. So there's this thing that came through on one of the social media platforms that I saw about challenging our perceptions about those that we would think are underachievers or lazy in some way, individuals that either can't move or are feeling fatigue or somehow seen as not delivering upon their our expectation of their productivity, laziness, not meeting deadlines, sadness, depression, etc. And saying to dig deeper into the root cause, and this may be yourself. Do not become complicit in the belief that you have something wrong with you if this is presenting in your life low energy or lack of productivity, achievement. There is much energy work being done, and the energies are heavy. And when they become heavy, we become slowed down or restricted or restrained or suppressed in some manner to push us to take the time to integrate and to process everything that comes through us and to us to keep us somehow healed. This can, as we level up, as our vibration is raising, as we are ascending, there are these challenging situations that push us to release, because we can only go so far, like the hot air balloon that has to release the weights to be able to lift off the ground, and then has to adjust the gas levels to be able to navigate or so on with the altitudes and things of that nature. I don't know much more about that. It's just coming through that way. Similarly, things that come through us, we are releasing the excess, both astral and physical, from our lives that are holding us at a specific level, because as we're being challenged, we're being told that we need to release something that perhaps has some type of energetic cords, attachment, karma, so on, or basis for us to recognize, like in the dream space, even dreaming about common themes like clothing, identity, your transport vehicles, clothing, messy spaces, need to cleanse, clear, relief, homes, houses. Look up those symbols and then meditate upon your own insights. But at the heart of this, there's something coming through about our ability to create this non-judgmental space. There's something surfacing. It definitely could be latent memories or awareness or return. Okay, surfacing and frequency shift. That's exactly what we're talking about. Perhaps some ascension symptoms, so to speak. Perhaps, as you're speaking and creating new truths within yourselves, you might need to clear the throat. You might have a head cold come through. You might have disturbances in digestion, depending on where you hold your energy. Perhaps the sacral chakra coming through for a reason. Energy meridians coming through as well. I've been researching that myself. So frequency shift. Where does your body hold tension, and what does it say about what's coming next? Let's just get that last one right there and what's on the bottom of the deck, and then we'll get an oracle card. Voice. Yes, the advocation for what's going on. And I saw this one fly out. Right order has been coming up quite a bit. So we're at the end of the video, but this is talking about using our voice, which is vibration of the vocal cords and the caliber voice, the clarity of voice, our wisdom and our intuitive channel to first conceive of an idea and then perceive all of the nuances and intricacies of that surfacing idea or prayerful manner. How do we put that into context? How do we catch and release the projections and transmute the energies that come through us to keep our life and our energy and our holy temple and our home and family life in proper order? How do we help order the earth with our prayerful life? And it starts with the vibration of our awareness, our willingness to transmute and to rise above the toils of ego and so on and others, and all of this that we've already talked about. The perception, and then the belief, and then the speaking, the acting, the alignment, and the outcomes are coming through. So I'd like to get an oracle card from the mixed Kali Kuan Yin deck. Just one. And I'll read you a little synopsis from the book as well. One more. That's it right there. It's two. On the bottom we have the nectar of the lotus. This individual Kuan Yin here, I'm going to just obscure that for you for YouTube's sake. She's kicked back and in her own realm, and she is sipping on the mana, the nectar of the lotus. Her enlightenment is nourishing her vessel. Maiden Ma Gud 16. This one is, to me, talking about where we do and don't put our awareness. And then we have Shinamasta. I don't know if this is too much for you. Graphic imagery of a self-decapitation here, where this is the self-liberating energy of being willing and able to cut through any defensive ego machinations. Is that the way you say that word? Or energies of self-deception and illusion or delusion, projections, gaslighting, victimization from external so-called situations, and to take one's power back and to steer oneself back into the realms of righteousness, and to be able to release the tensions that arise is part of your superpower at this time. So let's see if I have enough time to read this. Thank you so much for making it this far. Sacred severance is her radical grace. She's our soul's power to shed and survive, to outgrow and evolve. When the soul needs to separate itself from that which it was once reliant, be it a view of ourselves or the world, or a group or a belief system that cannot support the truths of the heart, she is the capacity, sovereignty, and courage required for self-liberation. Systems of oppression within your mind and your world will be overcome. You have the power to sever your attachment to the past and to focus on inner regeneration and reorientation, healing into a path that is worthy of your heart. Love you so much. Thank you so much for viewing. And check with the other content if you're still needing a little bit of healing or guidance. All of the messages herein are intended to be timeless. So until next time, love and light to you, my friend. Take care.